Hey, Daddy said you may want to have a look at my garden this year to see what I've got going on. Right here is my main vegetable patch. I've got some tomatillos over here. They took a lot of insect damage early in the season and the plants almost died off, but we fertilized them really aggressively and they've come back and are putting on lots of flowers, and we're expecting to have lots of tomatillos this year. These plants right here actually died completely back, and I took some extras and planted them in that spot. Here I've got several tomato plants growing. On the left is sun gold, then there's a pepper plant down there in the bottom. This one is Juliet, this one right here. And this one is my sickest tomato. I think it's atomic grape. It's the seed of a plant that a seed of a tomato that I took from the farmer's market last year, but it's looking terrible, very stunted and deformed. It started out like this from a seedling. I'm not sure if the seeds were bad or if I didn't save them right or what. This is a tomato plant called Bear Claw. It grows tomatoes that are up to 2 pounds, sometimes 5 and 6 pounds pretty regularly if you get them down to single stemming or single fruiting. Another pepper. This spot right here has killed 2 previous Cherokee Purples, so I had another backup, so I planted it in this spot yesterday, laid it down so the roots could grow fast, and you can see it's starting to lift up now. Another pepper. This one, I think this is Kellogg's Breakfast. Let me check. Yep, Kellogg's Breakfast. What this tomato is, it's a good looking one. This will be an orange tomato when it's ripe. This is a Italian tomato from my friend. This is San Marzano. I've grown this before. It's a paste tomato. They grow like a large grape tomato. That's what they look like, but they're very, very good. Much better tasting than Roma. This is, I'm not sure quite how to pronounce it, Bisignano 2. It's another Italian tomato. This tomato is kind of unusual in that it grows 4 different shapes of tomato on the same plant. Heart-shaped, oblate, oval, and even round. This is the same Bisignano. This one is a pineapple tomato. You can see I've got a tomato coming right there. This is a very strong, hardy plant. This has been good from seed, and it's in good, healthy shape, even though it's in kind of a soggy spot in my garden. Pepper does not like the soggy. This is a banana pepper. Here is a seed that Jared's cousin gave me. This is a pink plum tomato, David Haas, Pennsylvania pink plum. It's got some tomatoes growing in there. You can see they're plum shaped, I think. You can see it. This is another banana pepper, also not enjoying the extra water down on this end of the garden. Tim's Black Ruffles, this is one from Jared's cousin as well. It's looking very good, despite the waterloggedness here. It's shorter than some of the others, probably again due to too much water. Right here I've got 2, that's actually 3 spaghetti squash being trained up this vine right here. So far, I haven't seen any baby squash come. Well, except that I accidentally broke one off the other day. But so far, no baby spaghetti squash. Some pole beans. I've actually got 4 varieties here. I'm testing several different kinds of bean. See how they do. Over here, you can see my asparagus bed. That's chard underneath. Swiss chard. Over here, some sick beans. This is where I had the peas planted. Then I pulled out all the peas and found out that some of my bean plants died or just stayed runty. Then you can also see some lettuce down in there. More beans. Over here is a squash. This is a, hold up, what kind of squash is this? It is a butternut squash. You can see right there, there's a baby butternut coming. I sprayed it with fungicide and insect killer yesterday and killed this butternut, so that's kind of a bummer. Today's harvest. Some Swiss chard, a couple of squash. There's a squash blossom, a zucchini down in there, and there's a green tomato, but I had to pull that so that to protect the plant. All right, right here is another pineapple. This has had 3 stems break off. Jared didn't tie up the tomatoes when I asked him to, so all these tomatoes are in kind of a bad way. So I had to tie them up and a bunch of branches broke off. I'm trying to root them, see if they'll root. They're not looking good right now, but pineapple's looking okay. It seems like it's going to be healthy and survive. This, by the way, these are all in straw bales. Take about 2 weeks to get them started. You start them with any old kind of fertilizer. I just used regular old lawn fertilizer. You put about a cup or 2 on each bale, water it in every other day for about 2 weeks, and then you get kind of a rotten bale, and then you can plant right in it. If you look, in fact, right here, you can see the hole where I just made a hole in the hay and stuck the plant down in there, and you can see it's growing very well. Usually they recommend that you fertilize 1.5 cups of fertilizer every week with these. I have not been fertilizing that frequently. Regular watering has been enough. The second tomato is Cherokee Purple. Right here, this is a Zephyr Squash. Look down in here and see the squash leaves. I've got some baby squash coming right here. I've already picked up the squash for today. Zephyr is a hybrid that's from delicata, acorn, and yellow crookneck, and it makes this kind of little green tip on the end. It's kind of a sweet squash. We really like it. Okay, this next plant almost died. This one right here. It's an experimental hybrid that I got free seeds from when I ordered seeds. It's growing very well. And here, let me back up so you can kind of see scale, I guess. Probably what you want. So you can see how big things are growing. Here on the right, this is another bear claw, one of the super gigantic plants. I got this one out of California. Next to it is another tomato that I got out of California. This is Anna Russian. It's an ox heart. So it'll grow heart-shaped tomatoes. You can see it's a monster of a plant. It's doing super well. This is a tomato that I took the seed from when I was on a trip in Italy. And I don't know the name of it, and it was a grape tomato when I got it from Italy, but as you can see, it is not growing a grape tomato now. Here's a sun gold. This suffered a lot of damage when Jared attempted to tie up the plants. We'll see what happens to it. It's in a very, very bad way. Fully 2/3 of this plant was destroyed when he tried to tie it up, so it's not looking super great. Tim's Black Ruffles is over here. Second, I've got most of my tomato varieties. I have one planted in the garden and one planted in the hay bales or the straw bale to see to compare and see how they're growing. Right now, it looks like the healthier looking plants are actually in the straw bales. I think that's because with my plastic cover in the other garden, I've got a little extra water, and so even though those plants are taller, they have smaller leaves and are growing a little more sparse, and like I said, I think that's due to overwatering or too much water. This plant on the corner here is Juliet. It's a grape tomato that I used to grow years and years ago, one of the first tomatoes that I ever grew. Grows even in Utah, which tells you what a great plant it is. It's a hybrid. The next one is Kellogg's Breakfast. It's that same orange one. Look at this crazy blossom. Crazy. This is another Zephyr Squash down in here. Next I have, let's see, this is Cherokee Purple. This is one I got from a neighbor when some of my Cherokee Purples died. So it's looking very good. It's about 2.5 feet tall. And this is another David Hass Pennsylvania Dutch Pink Plum. This one got sick early in the season. And I picked off a bunch of leaves and fertilized it heavily and was able to bring it back. So I'm proud that this one is doing as well as it is. You wouldn't even know it was sick, except it's a little shorter than the others. 2.5 feet. This is 2 Stupichka planted in a fabric grow bag my friend gave me. I've got these caged. You can see these are very prolific. It shouldn't be too long before I have some ripe tomatoes here. I didn't have a double growing on the other side of these plants. Here I've got a planter where I've been putting the cut the cut ends of onions. When I get an onion from the store, I just cut the root off, and this is a spring onion. I just cut the root off and stick it in this pot. It's covered with a little bit of old straw from my straw bales last year, and I'm growing onions, so that's growing well. Got here a bunch of cucumbers. I had Jared build me a trellis. It looks like this. You can see the strings are wider at the top than they are at the bottom, and that's in order to try to make the cucumbers, when they form, to kind of dangle toward me and make them easy to pick. We'll see how it works. So far the cucumbers are looking good. I still have one that's runty that got started a lot later than the others, waiting to grow up, but I have 4 of those. All right, well, that's the garden. Let's see if I can step back again, let you see a little. Oh, I guess you want to see the zucchini, right? I'm sure everybody wants to see zucchini. These I'm very pleased with the garden this year. All right, here we go. These 2 big behemoths are zucchinis. Now, you can't really tell. Maybe you can tell down here. There are 3 straw bales in a row right here. You can see the first one right there, and then the second one sticks out perpendicular to the others. So what you're seeing here is actually a bale sticking out. The squash is not as huge as it looks like in the picture, but it's going this way. So these bales are going that way. There's 2 that way, and the one in between that goes this way. And so this zucchini is doing well as well. You can see some zucchini coming in there. I've been picking zucchini and eating them. Nice, great big flowers. What kind of zucchini in here? And then this is, I guess, the back side. That's Anna Russian right there. This is the dead sun gold. What's this one? Black Ruffles, Juliet, Kellogg's Breakfast, Bear Claw, and Anna Russian right there. Cherokee Purple and Pineapple here. You can see how they grow in the garden.